Okay, this is a reply to Blows Himself Up Dude's top 10 comic runs of the decade. Warning is mine is I haven't been in the comics for too long, and my runs are a little more recent, last couple years, so sorry. Number 10 is Dan Abnett and Andy Landing's run on Nova. This was probably the one that's out of the ballpark. I know that because a lot of people don't even know who Nova might be in the Marvel Universe. I didn't know who he was, but then I read this and went, wow, it's really good. You get a good backstory of who Nova is. There's an annual that explains his origin. There's a lot of interesting stories within the first two ones alone. There's a somewhat of a Civil War tie-in where he comes back on Earth and he realizes what's happening. There's tie-ins with Annihilation Conquest. There's stuff dealing with him and the Techno virus. It's just an interesting run. After you read this, get into the narco-cosmic universe after. Number 9 is Joss Whedon's X-Men. This is just wonderful. Joss Whedon does very interesting and intricate storytelling. He gets the characters. He gives great character moments to everyone. John Cassaday on art, who's on art for the whole of his run, is just beautiful to look at. Though it was delayed, I know. I've been reading it in trade. It's just very interesting. It's a great jumping on point for the X-Men, that's for sure. Number 8 is Greg Pak run on Incredible Hulk. Basically just the Planet Hulk story. That's like 16 issues. This is the first Hulk story I've actually read. It's just great. The fact that he's become so destructive they have to send him off planet is somewhat hilarious and something you think they would have thought of. And then he lands on a gladiator planet. It's just an even bigger twist. The fights are dynamic. The Hulk is seen as intelligent, and it's great. The characters he meets on the planet of Sakaar are very interesting warriors and have their own backstory, and you feel for all of them, I think. His love interest he grows is strange, and how it ends and how it sees the stuff in the Hulk universe in the future is very good. Definitely pick this up. Number 7 is JMS's run on Thor. I wasn't really interested in Thor before this. Then I read the first volume and I was hooked. I've read the entire run, the first 2 trades, and then the issues that came after issue 600, which is I think about 14, 15 issues altogether, and it's really sad. I wish he could have done more on the title. The first trade was great, though it didn't have too many fights. It was so good and interesting, and the characters are great. Volume 2 is the strongest of it, where you deal with him and finding Odin and Loki being Loki. The art done by Olivia Coppel is beautiful too. It was such a shame JMS was cut off on this book so early. Number 6 is Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America. I've not read it all. I've read about, I could say half of it. I've read up to the first 4 trades worth. I'm gonna skip the Civil War stuff. Just based on this alone, this is pure badass. He makes Bucky a badass in the flashbacks. You see why he would be around war zones, because he can kill people and he's tough. He does the drama done in here very well. It has a nice kind of secret agent-esque noir feel to it. The fact that all the stuff that happens in here is planned by Red Skull is very interesting. I think this is one of the greatest runs in Cap's history and Marvel's history. Number 5, though I think it's a little early in the game to say this, is Matt Fraction on Invincible Iron Man. I think the first story arc is wonderful. It's somewhat accessible for people to get into Iron Man who've only seen the movie. The issue with Spider-Man is a great example of what tie-in should be. Crossovers, just, character pops up and you see this. Not you have to read other books to get the story. World's Most Wanted was very intriguing. What he did with, what he was doing with kind of slowly doing to Tony, how he would have to, as he was getting dumber, he was trying to, downgrade his tech so he could use it. All the characters, especially the female characters, are done very well. Matt Fraction has become one of my favorite writers because of this run. Number 4 is Grant Morrison's run on Batman. I'm not gonna get too much into this. It's just clever. It's very interesting. It it does take its trip through crazy town at times, but it is interesting. Once you realize everything, once you read Batman and Son, Black Glove, and R.I.P., that's the run I'm covering. Together in one hit, it makes perfect sense. His take on the Joker is great. Just how this gives you, just what he's doing with the character of Batman was just so great in this run, and hopefully he does more, better stuff in the future. He does greater stuff in the future. I mean, number 3 is Mark Millar and Brian Hitch on Ultimates, because I feel they both deserve equal credit. Mark Millar, he was able to take the characters and make them all interesting. He just has, Mark Millar's good was just big ideas, and he knows how to execute them in this story. I've only read Ultimates 1, but Ultimates 2 is probably going to be the greatest thing ever after reading this. Brian Hitcher's art is beautiful to look at. It's not too sketchy, but it has plenty of detail to say it's great to look at. His photo referencing is very good. The fights, his fight scenes are great to look at as well. This is why Mark Millar is considered great for those of you who question it. Even to me, I'm surprised this is number 2, but it's so close to being number 1. Is Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern, and I mean from Rebirth to now, especially with Blackest Night. Even it's just interesting. Jeff Johns is a big fan of the Silver Age. Even I like Silver Age, and what he does with Silver Age concepts in this run alone is just beautiful. He does fun, action-packed stories. He's very clever. He knows how to change and morph things to fit this decade. He gets the character of Hal so well. He understands that he's somewhat of a country boy, but he's tough enough to deal with it. That's why he has the ring. And all the other Green Lanterns I think he does a good job with too. It kind of tears me apart to say this is number 2 in my list, but number 1 deserves it. And that number 1 is All-Star Superman, Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely. After reading it recently, this was the greatest Superman story I've ever read. I think it is. Many people will say, and I'll even say it now, it's a classic Superman story, but it's a great contemporary Superman story. How he takes the bare essential elements that make Superman great, and he takes it to a level knowing that this is Superman's end. He takes the series and essentially has Superman do anything he can before he can die to make the world a better place. Grant Morrison gets all the characters. He makes all the stories interesting. Bizarro World is one of my favorite parts of the series. Frank Quitely's art is beautiful to look at, as always. I think this is one of the greatest runs. This will be something close to Watchmen, if people will catch on to how good it is. And that's my list. I hope you people enjoy it. If you don't, odds are you'll angrily comment in the comment section. There you go.